Hey everybody, Prepper Nurse 1 here. Today, I'm going to make sure I say the date right today. I don't want to say it wrong, so I don't want to get hammered by you guys. Alright, so today is Saturday, January 12th, 2019. See, I even said it all right today. Imagine that. I'm getting it down. Anyway, we've had more snow at the homestead. Today, no snow, but it's been very, very cold. I did not make a video yesterday, so I apologize for that. So I'm going to jump right into the video, and then we'll talk about other things afterwards, okay? Yellowstone Volcano Yellowstone Volcano. It can go off in as little as 2 weeks. Now, is that a reality? Is that possible that it could go that quickly? Okay. Well, according to a report by Jacob Lowenstein, who is a researcher with the U.S. Geological Survey in Vancouver, Washington. He spent 15 years in charge of the Yellowstone Volcano Observatory. So I think he might know what he's talking about, okay? So he's talking about fourth eruption. So anybody that really knows anything about Yellowstone Volcano, it has gone off 3 times in the past. Once was 2.1 million years ago. Once was 1.2 million years ago, and the third time was 640,000 years ago. So it goes off in the neighborhood of about once every 600,000 years, basically, is when Yellowstone goes off. Okay. So during a interview that he had with BBC back in 2015, he talked about a sudden uprise in magma that would be devastating because it would affect, obviously with catastrophic results. He said with that magma, he goes, that could be the killer. If that magma comes up really, really quickly, that it could be as little as 2 weeks and Yellowstone could go. So everybody talks about, oh, well, there'd be all these earthquakes ahead of time and all this type of thing. Well, yeah, you're right. But according to this gentleman, who was in charge of the Yellowstone Observatory, team there for 15 years, because he is a researcher that does that. That's their job. They study volcanoes. He basically said that it could be as little as 2 weeks, and Yellowstone could go. And like I said, obviously, before the 2 weeks, there would be a huge uptick in earthquake activity, the rising of the magma channel, and stuff like that. So those things would be, like I said, those would be catastrophic. They basically estimate, now if anybody remembers Mount St. Helen that went off, I think it was 1980, if I'm correct when I say that. I believe it was 1980. Yellowstone would put out 2,500 more times 2,500 times the amount of stuff that Mount St. Helens put out. And Mount St. Helens actually affected the weather that year as far as temperatures wise. It actually dropped the temperature a little bit for that 1 year because of all of the stuff that it put out. With Yellowstone, not a matter of if, but a matter of when Yellowstone does go, it will be heating up things to, like, when the explosion happens, everything is going to be going up. And then they have the pyroclastic flow, they call it, where it goes up and then it comes down and it goes out. Well, that would be traveling at about 300 miles an hour. And so think about that. And they said basically everything within a 100-mile radius of Yellowstone would be wiped out, completely wiped out. You would be, because of the heat of the pyroclastic flow, I think they said it'd be like 1,000 degrees. So, I mean, you're not surviving that. You're just not surviving that. So, and especially if something's traveling at 300 miles an hour. So, I mean, and of course what would happen is if there was a big uptick all of a sudden with the earthquakes, they would be like, well, it's something that we're watching and keep. They wouldn't. I'm telling you guys, they would not let you know ahead of time. They really wouldn't. They would try to keep it under hat as long as they possibly could, just because they wouldn't want the panic that would happen. But the thought that it could happen as quickly as 2 weeks, That's scary. I mean, that is very, very scary. And, I mean, that's a world changer, not just the United States. I mean, it basically said that I think 60% of the United States would be under ash. In like Wyoming, Colorado, all those areas there, they would be looking at being under like 3 foot of ash. So, I mean, we're not talking about a little bit. And even over here on the East Coast, I think we're like 2,100 and something miles away from where I'm at. I'm in New York. So it's like, I think it's about 2,100 miles for us. And they're basically saying that we would here even get like a dusting of ash. Now, that would not be the worst part about it, okay? I mean, it'd be bad enough that 60% of the United States would be just decimated as far as a tremendous amount of ash all over the place. But the problem would be that because of so much stuff going into the upper atmosphere with Yellowstone, that it would basically black out the sun, put us into a volcanic winter, and that could be years affecting the amount of sunshine that comes into the United States, into the world. I mean, it would affect the world. It would lower the temperature of the planet, and it would basically usher us into another ice age, basically, for a while. I mean, it would literally take, could be as much as 10 years before we started seeing things sort of get back to normal. So think about a couple of nice years of straight winter. That would not be fun. That would not be fun at all. So I'm watching the puppies while I'm talking to you guys. They're actually being good. I'm going to kick this around so you can see them. They're over here, just kind of running around. So I definitely want to hear your feedback. I don't know if you guys realized that could it be as quick as 2 weeks before Yellowstone could blow. I mean, with very little warning ahead of time. And let's think about, too, what we have observed this last year with Steamboat Geyser setting a record in a year period of time for the number of eruptions that it had at Yellowstone, which, I mean, that was just absolutely crazy. And a lot of activity over there, and I think a lot of things are not being reported. They're not being as truthful as they should be about what's going on out there. So it's definitely something to keep an eye on. So it's a scary, scary situation. That is an event that it would be very difficult to plan for. It would really be difficult to plan for. It would, like I said, that's a game changer, folks. That could be an extinction level event in reality. It really, really could be. So that's real, real scary. Real, real scary. So anyway, I'm sorry that I did not make a video yesterday. I needed a mental health day, so I took one, and I had some other things that I wanted to do. But so I apologize for not making a video yesterday. What else was I going to say? Well, anyway, so I woke up the other day, and there was maybe inch and a half of snow, like dusting of snow on everything. But it was 8 degrees. I mean, and it was freaking cold. I mean, really cold. Yesterday was cold, and today's cold. So it's. I mean, today I think it's about 20 degrees right now. Now the last 2 days we've been lucky. There's no wind, as you can see, which has been great. But the wind before that for a couple days was really, really blowing. And we'd had rain overnight, and then it had turned to ice, and then it turned to snow. I mean, it was just miserable, miserable. So, not a good time. Not a good time. So, but, so we just keep plugging away here at home, at the homestead. And but I wanted to bring that information to you guys today about how quickly an event like Yellowstone could go. I mean, there's been a lot of volcanoes going off, a lot of activity with different volcanoes. I know that they call it the Son of Krakatoa. That one has been going off and causing a lot of problems. I don't know what this dog. Oh, it's got a glove. They got a glove, and they're playing with a glove. I'm gonna choke them. Anyway, they're good pups though. So that's crazy stuff going on around the world, guys. I mean, there is events that we cannot prepare for that would be devastating. So those are things to think about, okay? And so I want you to think about that. And how do you prepare for that realistically? I mean, you do the best you can, and you do a lot of hope. You need a lot of hope for something like that. And it would be bad. It would be really, really bad. I mean, breathing in the volcanic dust could cause your lungs to turn to cement, and you could die basically just because you're breathing. You could die because of that. No. Hold on a second, I'm sorry. Hey, come. Good pups. So anyway, that is what is going on. So I'd like to hear your thoughts. I definitely want to hear your feedback. I'm going to show you these guys again and hear what you guys have to say, okay? 2 weeks. It could be that fast for Yellowstone. And that's coming from somebody that, like I said, knows what they're talking about. It's not just somebody standing out here in the woods telling you on video. So anyway, tell me what your thoughts are. I'd like to hear your feedback. Remember, guys, we're all in this together. So got to watch out for each other. We really do. We got to remember also, hug and kiss the ones you love. Tell them every single day. Tomorrow is not guaranteed. We never know what's going to happen. And remember, guys, STD. It's one step at a time, one thing at a time, and one day at a time. Whatever you're trying to do, whatever you're trying to accomplish, you can do it. Work at it methodically, and you will get there. And that's the important thing, okay? I hope everybody has a great day. Prepper Nurse 1, out for now.